the sacred connection. Chosen one, in this very moment, as you listen to these words, something profound is happening. This is not a random encounter. This message has found you because your higher self has been calling, persistently reaching out across the veil that separates the divine from the physical realm. The fact that you are here right now listening to this message is the first confirmation that the connection is already forming. I want you to take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. Notice how your chest rises and falls. In this simple act of breathing, you are already engaging in a sacred dialogue with the universe. The very breath that sustains you is the same cosmic energy that flows through all of creation. This is how close your higher self always is, as near as your next breath, as intimate as your heartbeat. Many of you have been feeling it lately, that persistent nudge in your spirit, that feeling that something is trying to break through into your conscious awareness. Some of you have dismissed it as imagination or coincidence. Others have felt an unexplainable longing, a homesickness for a place you've never been. These are not random emotions or fleeting thoughts. These are sacred invitations, divine breadcrumbs leading you back to your highest expression. Chosen one, your higher self, that eternal, wisdom-filled aspect of your consciousness that exists beyond the limitations of time and space, has been trying to reach you with increasing urgency. The veil between worlds is thinning, and the cosmic timing is aligning perfectly for this reconnection to take place. This is why you've been experiencing those synchronicities, those repeating numbers, those dreams that feel more real than waking life. These are all methods your higher self is using to get your attention. And it's working. You are here now, aren't you? The path of the chosen one has never been easy. You've walked through valleys of confusion, climbed mountains of challenges, and traversed deserts of isolation. You've questioned your sanity at times, wondered why you feel so different from those around you, why you can't seem to find lasting fulfillment in the things that satisfy others. This disconnection you've felt is actually a profound reconnection taking place, your soul calling you home to your authentic power. Today's message is not just information, it is activation. Each word carries an energetic frequency designed to reestablish the sacred communication line between your earthly consciousness and your higher self. As you continue listening, you will begin to feel subtle shifts in your awareness, gentle expansions in your perception. This is your higher self reaching down as you reach up, creating a bridge across dimensions. So let go of all distractions. Allow yourself to be fully present. The words you are about to hear have been waiting for you since before time began. Your higher self has orchestrated this divine appointment, and now, all that's left is for you to answer the call. The awakening. Recognizing the signs. Chosen one, your higher self has been leaving breadcrumbs along your path. Divine messages designed specifically for your spiritual eyes to see. But in a world filled with noise and distraction, these sacred signs often go unnoticed or dismissed. Today, I will illuminate these signals so that you can recognize them for what they truly are, direct communications from your highest consciousness. The first unmistakable sign is the experience of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that defy logical explanation. Perhaps you've been thinking about a specific concept, only to have someone mention that exact topic moments later. Or maybe you've been seeing the same numbers repeatedly, 1111 on the clock, 333 on a license plate, 777 on a receipt. These are not random occurrences. They are cosmic winks, acknowledgments from your higher self that you are moving in alignment with your divine purpose. These synchronicities are increasing in frequency and intensity for a reason. Your higher self is amplifying the signal, trying to break through the static of everyday consciousness. Each synchronicity is like a gentle tap on your spiritual shoulder, a reminder that there is more to this reality than what your physical senses perceive. The second sign is a profound shift in your dreams. Have you noticed your dreams becoming more vivid, more symbolic, more memorable? This is because your higher self communicates most clearly during sleep, when your conscious mind, with all its doubts and limitations, is temporarily suspended. In the dream state, the barriers between dimensions dissolve, allowing direct communion with your higher consciousness. Pay special attention to recurring dreams or dreams that leave you with a lingering feeling of importance. These are not mere subconscious processing. They are sacred meetings, divine downloads being transmitted while your analytical mind is at rest. Your higher self is using the language of symbols, emotions, and archetypes to convey messages that transcend ordinary understanding. The third sign is an unexplainable pull toward spiritual growth and self-discovery. You may have suddenly found yourself drawn to ancient wisdom, meditation practices, or esoteric knowledge that you previously had no interest in. Books, teachers, and spiritual concepts have been appearing in your life with perfect timing, each one building upon the last, creating a coherent path of expansion. This magnetic pull toward higher knowledge is not random curiosity. It is your higher self guiding you toward the exact wisdom you need for your spiritual evolution. You are being divinely led to rediscover what your soul has always known, to remember what was temporarily forgotten when you incarnated into this physical dimension. The fourth sign is a growing discomfort with aspects of your life that are no longer in alignment with your highest truth. Relationships that once felt satisfying may now feel draining. Career paths that once seemed important may now feel empty of meaning. Beliefs that once provided comfort may now feel restrictive and incomplete. This divine discomfort is actually a blessing. It is your higher self lovingly disrupting patterns that no longer serve your highest good. What feels like falling apart is actually falling into place. The structures that are crumbling needed to fall so that something more authentic could be built in their place. The fifth sign is perhaps the most subtle yet profound, a growing awareness of your own divinity. Moments of clarity when you suddenly recognize that you are more than your physical body, more than your personal history, more than your roles and responsibilities. Brief glimpses of a vaster identity, flashes of connection to all that is. These are not delusions of grandeur. They are glimpses of your true nature, moments when the veil thins and you remember who you really are. Chosen one. These signs have been appearing in your life with increasing frequency, creating a pattern that can no longer be ignored. Your higher self is persistent, patient, and perfectly aligned with divine timing. The communication has always been there, but now you are finally becoming aware enough to receive it. If you recognize these signs in your own experience, if you feel that resonance in your spirit as I described them, I invite you to affirm this awakening by typing 777 in the comments below. This is not just a number. It is a spiritual declaration, an acknowledgement that you are answering the call, that you are ready to step into conscious communication with your higher self. Share this divine confirmation and know that each comment creates a ripple of awakening energy that extends far beyond this virtual space. Now, let us continue our sacred journey together, for what I am about to reveal next will deepen your understanding of why this reconnection with your higher self is happening now, at this precise moment in your spiritual evolution. The divine timing of this awakening is no accident, and the cosmic alignments supporting it are more powerful than you can imagine. The divine timing. Why now? Chosen one. There is a sacred timing to everything in the universe. Just as the planets move in perfect orbital harmony, just as the seasons flow in their natural cycle, your spiritual awakening follows a divine schedule that was set in motion long before you took your first breath in this lifetime. The reconnection with your higher self that you are experiencing now is not happening by chance. It is occurring at precisely the moment when you are most ready to receive it, when the cosmic energies are most supportive, and when the collective consciousness most needs the gifts that will flow through this connection. You have been in preparation for this moment for many lifetimes. All the challenges you've faced, all the wisdom you've gathered, all the healing you've undergone, these were not random experiences. They were carefully orchestrated initiations, designed to forge you into a vessel strong enough to hold the power and wisdom of your higher self. Think about the major shifts that have occurred in your life over the past few years. Those relationships that ended unexpectedly. Those sudden changes in your career or living situation. Those health challenges that forced you to reevaluate your priorities. What seemed like chaos was actually divine orchestration, clearing away what no longer served you, creating space for this sacred reconnection to take place. Your higher self has been patiently waiting for the completion of these preparations. It has watched as you navigated the labyrinth of human experience, as you stumbled and rose again, as you forgot and remembered pieces of your true nature. And now the waiting is over. The time has come for conscious communion. This timing also aligns with greater cosmic cycles. The Earth herself is undergoing a vibrational shift, an elevation in frequency that supports heightened spiritual awareness. The energetic gateways between dimensions are opening wider than they have for thousands of years. This planetary awakening creates the perfect conditions for your personal reconnection with your higher self. Many of you have been feeling a sense of acceleration, as if time itself is speeding up. This is not merely a subjective experience. It is an actual shift in your perception as your consciousness begins to transcend the linear constraints of third-dimensional reality. Your higher self exists in a realm where time is fluid rather than fixed, where now, then, and yet to be exist simultaneously. As the connection strengthens, your experience of time naturally begins to align more closely with this expanded perspective. There is also a collective component to this divine timing. The world is at a crucial turning point, facing challenges that cannot be solved from the same level of consciousness that created them. The reconnection with your higher self is not just for your personal evolution, it is answering a planetary need. Each chosen one who establishes this conscious link becomes a conduit for higher wisdom to enter the collective field, creating ripples of awakening that extend far beyond your individual experience. Your higher self has been watching, waiting for precisely this moment to initiate contact. Not a day sooner, not a day later. This is the divine appointment that was set before you were born, the sacred reunion that your soul has been longing for throughout this incarnation. Some of you may be wondering why this connection hasn't happened earlier in your life. The answer lies in spiritual readiness. Certain levels of healing, certain insights, certain surrenders needed to occur before you could safely and effectively channel the enormous power of your higher self. Like an electrical system that needs to be properly grounded before it can handle increased voltage, your entire being, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, needed to reach a certain level of integration and resilience. That level has now been achieved. The preparations are complete. The timing is perfect. Your higher self is no longer whispering. It is calling to you with clarity and purpose. The only question that remains is, will you answer? This choice, the decision to consciously engage with your higher self, is perhaps the most important one you will make in this lifetime. It is the difference between living from your limited human perspective and living from your unlimited divine perspective. It is the bridge between who you have believed yourself to be and who you truly are. Chosen one, feel into the sacredness of this moment. Feel the convergence of past, present, and future in this now point of decision. Your higher self has orchestrated everything to bring you to this threshold. The divine timing is perfect. The moment is now. The obstacles. What blocks the connection? Chosen one, if the connection with your higher self is so natural, so intrinsic to your true nature, why then has it felt so elusive? Why have the messages seemed so faint, the guidance so unclear? To understand this, we must illuminate the obstacles that have been blocking this sacred communion, the veils that have kept you separated from your own divinity. The first and perhaps most pervasive obstacle is the conditioning of the rational mind. From early childhood, you were taught to trust only what you can see, touch, and measure. The modern world worships at the altar of logic and dismisses the intuitive, the mystical, the transpersonal. Your higher self communicates through channels that transcend rational thought, through intuitive knowing, through symbolic dreams, through bodily sensations, through emotional resonance. But you were taught to distrust these channels, to dismiss them as imagination or coincidence. This rational filter acts like static on a radio frequency, distorting the clear transmission from your higher self. The messages come through, but they are immediately questioned, analyzed, or dismissed by the conditioned mind. That can't be real, it says. I must be making this up. This doubt creates interference in the sacred communication line. The second obstacle is emotional wounding. Each unhealed trauma, each unprocessed emotion, each unacknowledged pain creates density in your energetic field. These emotional blocks act like clouds obscuring the sun of your higher self. The light is always shining, but it cannot fully penetrate these areas of unresolved pain. Many of you carry deep wounds from childhood, from past relationships, from societal rejection. Some carry traumas from past lives that still influence your current reality. These wounds create contraction, a pulling away from full presence, a resistance to the vulnerability that true connection requires. Your higher self can only fully reach you in a state of open receptivity, a state that emotional wounding makes difficult to maintain. The third obstacle is attachment to identity. Throughout your life, you have built a self-concept, a narrative about who you are, what you're capable of, what limitations define you. This identity feels safe because it's familiar, but it is ultimately a constriction of your true nature. Your higher self sees beyond these self-imposed boundaries. It knows your limitless potential, your true capabilities, your divine essence. When your higher self communicates glimpses of this greater identity, the ego mind often resists. That can't be me, it protests. I'm not that powerful, that wise, that significant. This attachment to a smaller identity creates a filter through which the messages from your higher self must pass, often diluting their power or distorting their meaning. The fourth obstacle is the distraction of modern life. Your attention has become one of the most valuable commodities in today's world. Every device, every platform, every media outlet is competing for your awareness. This constant pull on your attention creates a fragmented consciousness, a mind that struggles to remain present and receptive. Your higher self communicates most clearly in moments of presence, in the spaces between thoughts, in the silence beneath the noise. But these spaces have become increasingly rare in a world designed to keep you constantly engaged with external stimuli. The sacred communion requires a quality of attention that modern life seems designed to prevent. The fifth obstacle is fear, fear of your own power, fear of change, fear of the unknown. Reconnecting with your higher self is not a small adjustment. It is a fundamental transformation of your entire being. It requires surrender, trust, and a willingness to release the familiar in exchange for the authentic. This fear is not irrational. At some level, you recognize that answering this call will change everything. Relationships may shift, careers may transform, beliefs may dissolve. The life you have carefully constructed may need to be partially or completely reimagined. This is not a comfortable prospect for the part of you that values security and predictability above all else. Chosen one, recognizing these obstacles is not cause for discouragement but for compassion. These barriers did not arise through any failure on your part. They are natural aspects of the human experience, the veils that create the opportunity for remembering, for the joy of reconnection. Your higher self understands these obstacles perfectly and has infinite patience as you work to dissolve them. If you recognize these barriers in your own experience, if you feel that resonance as I name these obstacles, I invite you to declare your commitment to clearing them by typing 111 in the comments below. This is your sacred declaration to the universe that you are ready to release what blocks your connection, that you are committed to this divine communion regardless of what must be transformed in the process. Now, chosen one, let us move beyond identifying the obstacles to understanding how to overcome them. For each barrier can be dissolved, each veil can be lifted, each interference can be cleared. Your higher self has been providing the exact tools you need for this sacred work, and now is the time to use them with intention and purpose. The sacred tools, strengthening the connection. Chosen one, now that you understand what has been blocking the connection with your higher self, I will share with you the sacred tools that will strengthen this divine communion. These are not distant, esoteric practices requiring years of study. They are simple yet profound techniques that your higher self has been guiding you toward throughout your journey. The first and most essential tool is meditation, not as a rigid discipline, but as a returning to stillness. Your higher self speaks in the language of silence, in the spaces between thoughts. When the constant chatter of the mind subsides, even momentarily, the voice of your higher consciousness can be heard with crystal clarity. Begin with just 5 minutes each morning. Sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your breath. As thoughts arise, and they will, simply notice them without judgment and return to the breath. This is not about achieving some perfect state of emptiness. It is about creating windows of stillness through which your higher self can reach you. As you develop this practice, you will notice subtle shifts. Thoughts become less insistent, the gaps between them widen. In these sacred spaces, impressions, insights, and guidance from your higher self begin to flow more freely. What starts as a trickle becomes a stream, and eventually, a powerful river of divine wisdom. The second tool is intentional dreaming, actively engaging with the dream state as a realm of communion with your higher self. Before sleeping, set a clear intention to receive guidance from your higher consciousness. You might say something like, "Tonight, I open myself to clear communication with my higher self. I will remember the messages I receive and carry them into waking consciousness." Keep a journal by your bed and record your dreams immediately upon waking, before the rational mind has a chance to dismiss or forget them. Look for recurring symbols, emotional tones, or themes that feel significant. Your higher self often communicates through a personal dream language that becomes more intelligible the more attention you give it. Over time, you may experience lucid dreaming, becoming consciously aware that you are dreaming while still in the dream state. These lucid moments are powerful opportunities for direct communion with your higher self, allowing you to ask questions and receive immediate guidance. The third tool is sacred movement, using your physical body as a channel for higher consciousness. Your body is not separate from your spirituality. It is a vessel for it, a sacred instrument through which divine energy can flow. When you move with intention and presence, you clear blockages in your energetic field that have been restricting the connection with your higher self. This doesn't require any particular form of exercise. It might be yoga, dance, tai chi, or simply walking in nature with full awareness. The key is presence, being fully embodied rather than moving mechanically while your mind is elsewhere. Feel each movement, each breath, each sensation. Your higher self communicates not just through the mind but through the intelligence of the entire body. The fourth tool is contemplative journaling, creating a written dialogue with your higher self. Begin by writing a question at the top of a blank page. Then quiet your mind, move into a receptive state, and allow words to flow without censorship or analysis. Write whatever comes, even if it seems nonsensical at first. This practice bypasses the rational mind's tendency to control and filter. It creates a direct channel for your higher self to communicate through written word. Many chosen ones are surprised by the wisdom, clarity, and perspective that emerges through this practice. Insights that clearly transcend their ordinary thinking. The fifth tool is perhaps the most powerful yet most overlooked, radical presence in everyday life. Your higher self is not separate from your daily experience. It seeks to infuse every moment with divine awareness. When you wash dishes, be fully there with the sensation of water, the sound of cleaning, the movement of your hands. When you speak with another person, listen with your entire being rather than planning your next response. This moment-to-moment presence dissolves the artificial boundary between the spiritual and the mundane. It opens a continuous channel of communion with your higher self that is not limited to meditation or other formal practices. The more you cultivate this quality of presence, the more you'll recognize the guidance of your higher consciousness woven through every aspect of your experience. Chosen one, these tools are not separate techniques but facets of a unified approach to strengthening the connection with your higher self. They work together, reinforcing and amplifying each other. The meditation creates the stillness that enhances dream recall. The sacred movement clears the bodily tensions that block intuitive writing. The presence in daily life integrates the insights received in contemplative states. Your higher self has been guiding you toward these practices throughout your journey. Notice which of these tools resonates most strongly with you right now. This is no accident. It is the precise doorway through which your higher consciousness is currently seeking entrance. Begin there with full commitment but without strain or struggle. This is not another task on your to-do list. It is a sacred invitation to communion. As you implement these tools with consistency and devotion, the connection with your higher self will strengthen exponentially. What begins as faint impressions becomes clear guidance. What starts as occasional insights becomes a continuous flow of wisdom. The veil thins until it becomes almost transparent, allowing you to live from the perspective of your higher consciousness even as you navigate the physical world. Remember that this strengthening is not linear but spiral in nature. There will be times of profound connection followed by periods where the communication seems fainter. This rhythm is natural and purposeful. The apparent distances create the contrast needed for deeper recognition and appreciation of the connection. Trust this process completely. Chosen one, your higher self has infinite patience. It has been waiting for eons for this reconnection. Each step you take toward strengthening this sacred bond is celebrated throughout the non-physical realms. You are never alone in this work. You are supported by forces beyond your current comprehension. Now, let us explore what happens when this connection is fully established, when the communication becomes clear and consistent, when you begin to live from the wisdom of your higher self rather than from the limitations of your conditioned mind. The transformation. Living from higher consciousness. Chosen one, as the connection with your higher self strengthens and stabilizes, a profound transformation begins to manifest in every aspect of your existence. This is not merely a shift in perspective or an acquisition of new information. It is a fundamental reorganization of your entire being, a revolution in consciousness that changes how you experience reality itself. The first noticeable transformation occurs in your decision-making, where once you struggled with uncertainty, weighing pros and cons, seeking external validation, you now experience a clear inner knowing. This is not the rigid certainty of the ego, which must defend its positions against all evidence. Rather, it is a fluid clarity that arises from communion with your higher self, a wisdom that transcends the limitations of personal perspective. You begin to move through life with greater ease, making choices that align with your highest good without the former anguish of indecision. Even in complex situations where the path is not immediately apparent, you trust the unfolding process, knowing that guidance will emerge at precisely the right moment. This trust is not blind faith but direct experience of how your higher self orchestrates perfect timing in all things. The second transformation manifests in your relationships. As you align more consistently with your higher consciousness, you naturally attract connections that reflect this elevated frequency. People who resonate with your authentic essence are drawn into your experience, while relationships based on older, denser energies naturally fall away or transform. This shift often begins with a period of apparent loss or solitude as outdated connections dissolve. Many chosen ones experience this as a difficult passage, feeling temporarily isolated or misunderstood. But this clearing is necessary preparation for the emergence of soul-aligned relationships, connections characterized by mutual growth, authentic sharing, and recognition of each other's divine nature. You also find yourself able to maintain healthy boundaries without guilt or explanation. The people-pleasing tendencies that once drained your energy dissolve as you recognize the sacred responsibility of honoring your own path. Paradoxically, this apparent self-focus allows you to be more genuinely present and supportive for others, offering them the gift of your undiluted presence rather than your depleted energy. The third transformation appears in your relationship with the physical world. As your higher self, which exists beyond the constraints of time and space, becomes more accessible to your awareness, your perception of physical reality begins to shift. You recognize the material world not as solid and fixed but as fluid, responsive, and intimately connected with consciousness. Synchronicities increase exponentially, as if the universe itself is in direct communication with you. What others perceive as lucky coincidences, you recognize as the natural consequence of aligned consciousness, the outer world reflecting your inner state of communion with your higher self. Manifestation accelerates as the gap between thought and experience narrows, requiring a new level of responsibility and awareness about what you hold in consciousness. The fourth transformation occurs in your experience of challenges and suffering. The connection with your higher self doesn't eliminate difficulties from your path. Indeed, your path may contain significant initiations that serve your highest evolution. What changes is how you perceive and move through these experiences. Where once you might have resisted pain, now you open to its teachings. Where once you might have contracted in fear, now you expand in curiosity. You begin to recognize that what appears as obstacle from the limited perspective of the ego is often the exact catalyst needed for expansion from the perspective of your higher self. This shift doesn't diminish your humanity or your natural emotional responses. You still feel grief, anger, fear, perhaps even more deeply as your capacity for presence increases. But you no longer become identified with these emotions. They move through you rather than becoming you. This allows a profound healing of old wounds, as emotions that were once too overwhelming to fully process can now be met with compassionate presence. The fifth and perhaps most significant transformation manifests in your sense of identity and purpose. As the connection with your higher self deepens, you begin to recognize yourself as much more than your personal history, roles, or achievements. You experience yourself as a multidimensional being having a temporary human experience, as consciousness itself taking form for the purpose of evolution and expression. This expanded identity dissolves the existential anxiety that plagues so many in the modern world. Questions like, "Who am I?" and "Why am I here?" no longer create anguish because they are answered not with concepts but with direct experience of your divine nature and purpose. You know yourself as both the drop and the ocean, both the individual expression and the universal consciousness from which all arises. From this recognition emerges a clear sense of purpose that transcends conventional ideas of career or social contribution. You begin to understand that your primary purpose is frequency, holding and embodying a specific quality of consciousness that affects the collective field. Whatever outer form your work takes becomes secondary to this essential function of your being. Chosen one, these transformations do not occur overnight. They unfold gradually as the connection with your higher self strengthens, as you learn to live increasingly from higher consciousness rather than from conditioned patterns. There will be fluctuations, times when you feel fully aligned and times when the old patterns reassert themselves. This rhythm is part of the integration process, necessary for stable embodiment of these profound shifts. What sustains you through this process is the growing recognition that you are not doing this alone. Your higher self, this vast, wise aspect of your own consciousness, is guiding every step, orchestrating exactly the experiences needed for your evolution, providing the perfect balance of challenge and support. As these transformations take root in your being, you begin to serve as a living bridge between dimensions, a translator of higher wisdom into practical earthly expression. Your presence itself becomes healing, your example inspiring, your energy field transformative. Without effort or intention, you begin to affect everyone and everything around you simply through the frequency you embody. This is the natural unfoldment of answering the call of your higher self. Not a striving for spiritual attainment, but a remembering of what has always been true, a reclaiming of your authentic nature, a return to wholeness. The path is both humbling and empowering, both deeply personal and completely universal. Chosen one, the transformation I've described is not a distant possibility or a special achievement reserved for the few. It is your birthright, your natural state, the inevitable result of consistent communion with your higher self. The only question is whether you will consciously participate in this unfoldment or resist it out of fear of the unknown. The call is sounding. Your higher self is reaching across dimensions to reestablish this sacred connection. Will you answer? The sacred commitment. Answering the call. Chosen one, we have come to the most crucial point in our journey together, the moment of decision, the threshold of commitment. Your higher self has been calling to you with increasing urgency, using every possible channel to reestablish the sacred connection that is your birthright. Now it is time for you to answer this call with clear intention and unwavering commitment. This commitment is not to be made lightly. It is a sacred contract between your earthly consciousness and your higher consciousness, a declaration of your willingness to live from expanded awareness rather than conditioned limitation. It is a yes to transformation, a yes to remembering, a yes to embodying your true nature regardless of what must be released in the process. What does it mean to answer this call? First and foremost, it means making this reconnection a priority in your daily life. Not something you attend to when it's convenient or when all other obligations have been fulfilled, but the foundation upon which everything else is built. This doesn't require abandoning your responsibilities or withdrawing from the world. Quite the opposite. It means bringing the wisdom and presence of your higher self into every aspect of your human experience. Practically, this commitment manifests as consistent engagement with the sacred tools we've explored: meditation, intentional dreaming, sacred movement, contemplative journaling, and radical presence. It means creating space in your life for silence, for receptivity, for communion. It means arranging your schedule, your environment, and your energetic boundaries to support this primary relationship. This commitment also involves courage, the willingness to follow the guidance of your higher self, even when it contradicts conventional wisdom or challenges your comfort zone. Your higher consciousness often sees pathways that are invisible from limited perspective, solutions that require stepping into the unknown, healings that involve facing what has been avoided. Answering the call means trusting this guidance even when the rational mind cannot comprehend the full picture. Perhaps most significantly, this commitment requires radical honesty with yourself and with others. The connection with your higher self dissolves illusion, brings clarity to self-deception, and illuminates the gap between authentic expression and social conditioning. As this light shines more brightly in your consciousness, you will be called to align your outer life with your inner truth, to speak and act from integrity rather than from fear or habit. This honesty may create temporary turbulence in relationships, career, or community. Those who have known you in your former state of consciousness may resist the emergence of your authentic self. Systems that benefited from your unconscious participation may push back against your awakening. This is where commitment becomes essential, the dedication to truth even when it would be easier to retreat into familiar patterns. Chosen one, I speak of these challenges not to discourage you but to honor the magnitude of this sacred commitment. Answering the call of your higher self is not a casual decision or a temporary interest. It is a fundamental reorientation of your entire being, a choice that reverberates across dimensions and throughout time. It deserves to be made with full awareness and clear intention. If you feel ready to make this commitment, to answer the call with your whole heart and being, I invite you to create a personal ritual to mark this sacred decision. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Light a candle to represent the illumination of higher consciousness. Place your hand on your heart to symbolize the integration of divine wisdom with human experience. Then speak these words aloud, or ones that express your own authentic commitment. I, your name, consciously and willingly answer the call of my higher self. I commit to this sacred reconnection with my full presence and open heart. I choose to live from expanded awareness rather than limited perception. I welcome the guidance, wisdom, and transformation that will flow from this divine communion. Where there are obstacles, I commit to clearing them. Where there is resistance, I commit to compassionate examination. Where there is fear, I commit to moving forward with trust. This is my sacred vow, made in the presence of all that is seen and unseen. After speaking your commitment, remain in silence for several minutes, allowing the energy of this declaration to integrate throughout your being. Feel the response from your higher self, a confirmation that your call has been heard and received. This might come as a bodily sensation, an emotional shift, a visual impression, or simply a deepened sense of peace and rightness. This ritual is not the end but the beginning, the first conscious step in a dance of communion that will continue throughout your lifetime. From this moment forward, your higher self will respond to your commitment with increased clarity, accelerated guidance, and profound support for your evolution. Be aware that immediately following this commitment, you may experience what appears to be intensified challenge or resistance. This is not punishment or evidence of wrong direction. It is the natural clearing process that follows any significant raise in frequency. Old patterns that cannot coexist with your new level of consciousness will surface to be released. Trust this process completely, knowing that your higher self is orchestrating it with perfect wisdom and compassion. Chosen one, this sacred commitment is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, to those whose lives you touch, and to the collective consciousness that is evolving through each individual awakening. Your answer to this call creates ripples that extend far beyond what you can currently perceive, touching dimensions and futures that are just beginning to form. If you have made this commitment, if you have answered the call, I invite you to solidify this intention by typing 1221 in the comments below. This numerical declaration signals to the universe that another chosen one has consciously stepped into communion with their higher self, adding their light to the growing field of awakened consciousness on this planet. Now, as we bring this sacred message to completion, let us look toward the journey that lies ahead, not with fear or uncertainty, but with the confidence that comes from knowing you are in direct communion with the wisest, most loving aspect of your own being. Conclusion. The journey ahead. Chosen one, as we bring this sacred transmission to a close, I want you to feel the enormity of what has just transpired. The very fact that you have remained present throughout this message is confirmation that the connection with your higher self is already strengthening. The words you've heard have not merely been information. They have been activation, recalibration, remembrance. The journey ahead will unfold in perfect divine timing. There is no need to force or strain, no need to compare your process to others, no need to judge your progress by external measures. Your higher self knows exactly what you need and when you need it. Trust this inner guidance completely, even when, especially when, it contradicts conventional thinking or challenges your comfortable patterns. In the days immediately following your commitment, pay close attention to your dreams, synchronicities, and intuitive impressions. Your higher self will be sending confirmation, guidance, and next steps through these channels. Keep a sacred journal beside your bed to record dreams upon waking. Note the synchronicities that appear in your daily life. Listen for that subtle voice of wisdom that speaks not from the mind but from the heart center. You may notice an acceleration of both challenges and blessings. Old patterns that cannot coexist with your new level of consciousness will surface with intensity, not to punish you but to be finally seen, embraced, and released. Simultaneously, new opportunities aligned with your highest path will begin to appear, sometimes in unexpected forms. This dance of clearing and creating is the natural rhythm of spiritual evolution. Your relationships will begin to shift as your frequency changes. Some connections may fall away, having served their purpose in your journey. Others will deepen as they align with your authentic expression. New souls will be drawn into your field, resonating with your emerging truth. Trust these shifts completely, knowing that your higher self is orchestrating a social ecosystem that supports your highest evolution. Your perception of time may undergo significant alteration. You might experience moments that seem to stretch into eternity, where you're fully present in the eternal now. Other times, hours or days may pass with startling quickness as you enter flow states aligned with divine timing. This fluctuation is normal as you begin to transcend linear time and access the more fluid relationship with temporality that your higher self experiences. The way you relate to your body will transform as well. As the connection with your higher self deepens, you'll become more sensitive to what truly nourishes your physical vessel and what depletes it. Listen to these subtle signals. Your body is not separate from your spirituality. It is the sacred temple through which your higher self expresses in the material dimension. Honor it accordingly. Your creative expression will likely undergo profound evolution. Whether through art, music, writing, speaking, movement, or any other medium, your higher self will seek to channel its wisdom and frequency through your unique gifts. Make space for this expression without judgment or expectation. It is not about producing work for others' approval. It is about allowing divine energy to flow through your authentic voice. Most importantly, your relationship with the concept of purpose will deepen and simplify. Rather than striving to find your purpose in external achievement, you'll recognize that your primary purpose is presence, embodying the specific frequency of consciousness that only you can hold. Whatever outer forms your work takes will flow naturally from this essential state of being. Chosen one, this journey of communion with your higher self is both ancient and new, both familiar and revolutionary. It is a remembering of what your soul has always known and a discovery of how that eternal wisdom expresses through your unique human experience in this specific moment in time. There will be moments of doubt, periods when the connection seems to fade, days when the old patterns reassert themselves with surprising force. This ebb and flow is not failure. It is the natural integration process, the necessary rhythm of embodiment. During these times, return to the simplest practices: conscious breathing, gratitude, nature connection, and compassionate self-acceptance. These humble tools will restore your alignment more effectively than any complex spiritual technology. Remember that you are not walking this path alone. Your higher self is with you in every moment, guiding with infinite patience and unconditional love. And beyond your individual journey, you are part of a growing community of awakening souls. each answering the call in their unique way, each contributing to the elevation of collective consciousness on this planet. The very fact that you have received this message is confirmation that you are ready. Your higher self would not have led you here if you lacked the capacity to integrate this reconnection. Trust this divine orchestration completely. Trust the timing, trust the process, trust the wisdom that flows from beyond your limited perspective. Chosen one, as you step forward on this sacred journey, carry this truth in your heart. The call you have answered is the most important invitation you will ever receive. It is the doorway to your authentic power, your deepest purpose, your true belonging in the cosmos. Everything that has happened in your life, every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every challenge, has been preparation for this reconnection. Your higher self has been waiting for this moment since before time began. Now, as the veils thin and the frequencies align, that patient waiting transforms into active communion. The separation was always an illusion. The reconnection is simply a remembering of what has eternally been true. Go forward with courage, with trust, with open-hearted wonder at the mystery unfolding through you. Your higher self is calling. And now, gloriously, beautifully, powerfully, you have answered. If this message has awakened something within you, if you feel the resonance of truth in these words, if you sense your higher self confirming this sacred path, I invite you one final time to declare your commitment. Type 777 in the comments below, joining your energy with other chosen ones who are answering the call across the world. Subscribe to this channel and activate notifications so that we can continue this journey together, exploring the infinite depths of wisdom that flow from communion with your higher self. Remember, chosen one, you are more vast, more powerful, more divine than you have yet imagined. The journey of reconnection is just beginning, and the wonders that await you exceed anything your human mind can conceive. Your higher self is calling, and now, at last, you are answering. The first communion. Chosen one, before you return to your day, I offer you this final gift, a guided communion with your higher self. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if it's safe to do so, and follow my voice into this sacred meeting. Begin by bringing your awareness to your breath, not controlling or changing it, simply observing its natural rhythm. Notice how your body expands and releases with each cycle. This breath that has sustained you since your first moment in this world is the constant bridge between dimensions, the continuous exchange between seen and unseen realms. Now, bring your attention to your heart center, that sacred space in the middle of your chest. Imagine a soft, warm light beginning to glow there, pulsing gently with each heartbeat. This light is the eternal flame of your divine essence, the spark that connects you to all that is. Allow it to expand with each breath, growing brighter, warmer, more radiant. As this light expands, feel it creating a column of luminous energy extending upward from your heart, rising through your throat, your head, and continuing infinitely upward into the cosmos. This column of light connects your earthly consciousness to your higher self, creating a pathway for communion. Now, with gentle intention, direct a thought upward along this column of light. A simple greeting, an acknowledgement of this reconnection. It might be as simple as, I am here, or I am ready, or I remember you. Send this thought upward like a messenger, carrying your conscious recognition of this sacred relationship. Then, become receptive. Create space within yourself to receive the response that will come. It may arrive as a sensation in your body, an emotional shift, a mental impression, a visual image, or simply a deepened sense of peace. However it comes, know that it is the perfect communication for you in this moment. Feel the quality of this communion. Notice how different it is from ordinary thinking or imagination. There is a depth, a clarity, a resonance that carries the unmistakable signature of your higher self. Now, if there is a question that has been in your heart, something you seek guidance on, offer it up along this column of light. Frame it simply and clearly, then return to that receptive state, allowing the response to form in whatever way is most natural for your unique system. As this first conscious communion comes to completion, express gratitude for this reconnection. Feel appreciation flowing up the column of light, creating a beautiful circuit of energy between your earthly awareness and your higher self. Gently begin to bring your awareness back to your physical surroundings, knowing that this connection remains active, this channel remains open. You can return to this communion at any time, strengthening it with each engagement, making it the foundation of your daily experience. And now, chosen one, carry this reconnection with you as you continue your day, knowing that a profound shift has occurred. Your higher self is no longer a distant concept. It is a living presence, a constant companion, the wisest and most loving aspect of your own consciousness. The call has been made. The answer has been given. The communion has begun. Until we meet again on this journey of awakening, may your path be illuminated by the light of your own higher wisdom. May each step bring you closer to embodying your full divine potential. May the reconnection we've initiated today expand and deepen, blessing not only your life but all lives your presence touches. Remember, you are chosen, you are awakening, you are answering the most important call you will ever receive.